Hey, today on the To Be the Church podcast, we're talking leadership, Chick-fil-A. Got a special guest. Hello and welcome to the To Be the Church podcast, where we discuss what it looks like to truly be the church in today's culture. Bringing back a former guest. How many times you been on the podcast, Jacob?
Just once.
Just once?
Yeah.
Okay. Second time back on the podcast. This is Jacob Hutchin, the youth pastor here at Northwest Gospel Church Eastside. And as you can see in his shirt, a Phillies fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Also
Yes.
an Eagles fan.
I hail from the Philadelphia area.
Excellent.
North of Philly. Yeah.
That's
not too far.
That's great. Awesome story. So, so Jacob, you and I were just, truth be told, I was wandering around the office trying to get a topic for the To Be the Church podcast. Tempted to run a solo pod myself, just a monologue pod, but then decided after you and I chatted a little bit. You and I were in a discussion today with a group of interns on the book Equal Yet Different by Alexander Strauch, which talks about kind of the biblical passages that talk about gender, sexuality, and kind of men and women in the home and church. And through that, we were talking a few leadership things in that, and talking through how culture views leadership and how the scriptures view leadership and all those sorts of things. And so it's kind of a topic on our minds, but you came out of the Chick-fil-A world, right? So tell us a little bit of your Chick-fil-A background, which that was Chick-fil-A the only job you worked before becoming?
Yeah. Only W-2 I ever had was Chick-fil-A.
All right. Tell us your Chick-fil-A journey.
So older brother, older sister, both had worked at Chick-fil-A, and one of them was working at Chick-fil-A. So it was kind of like a family thing. Like we just, that's where my siblings worked, so I'll give it a shot. So 15 years old, put in an application and did not get in the first time. Waited till I was 16, labor laws and restrictions a little tighter. And so walked in with my briefcase and my suit. This is Florida, South. So it's just how you do it. You show up for success. And 16 years old, just stopped playing sports and just put like all that energy and competitiveness from sports to earning some wages. And so... yeah, quickly really enjoyed it and fell in love with the brand, and in particular, our owner and operator that was there, Robert Barnes, and just a great coach and leader himself. And was there for about a year, and then they called me one day while I was at school, and they're like, "Hey, would you like to lead the kitchen in the evenings?" And I was like, sure. What does that mean? And so we started doing that. And then
you're like 17.
I'm 17. Yeah. A senior in high school. So that was like my first opportunity to lead in the restaurant. Yeah. And then decided to stay at in town and go to our local university there for business. Ended up doing international marketing as like my degree. I told Danae, I was like, it's like a missions degree. I'm just an ambassador it's like a missions degree at a regular university. I'm going to learn about how to do business internationally. And the goal was to hopefully take that to China and use it there in ministry. And so, but then, just got to work throughout college in various opportunities. John Dabrowski was my GM there. And he helped me like be a kitchen director, and kind of served under him while I was there, and then moved out here to continue developing that.
So you graduate college and you're 22 or something, right?
Yeah, 21.
21. Mm-hmm. You get married.
Yep.
Right?
So graduated December. It was one of those off semester, did school 3.5 years, graduated, and then got married July of 2016. So coming up here, July 29th, I haven't forgotten. And moved here 2 weeks after we got married. Yeah,
because John Dombrowski ends up coming out here to kind of help pioneer this new market, like in the Northwest with Chick-fil-A, and he invites you and Danae, who you not only worked with him at Chick-fil-A, didn't you guys go to church with him too?
Yeah, John. I met John at church actually.
Okay.
I started working at Chick-fil-A before he did, technically.
Whoa,
so
shots fired.
But I did not teach him everything he knows. So he taught me a lot more.
So leadership within the Chick-fil-A world is a big deal. Like that's a major thing within the company. So you were with the company like 15 years?
14.
14 years. Okay. And then as of, it'll be a year in September, I think, right?
Yep,
As
September 1st.
So you're a couple months shy of a full year here on staff at Eastside. Just, so you transferred over from the Chick-fil-A world, but you brought your Chick-fil-A experience with you. And talking leadership, and this is it's a topic on your mind because of not only our discussion with sort of the nature of leadership among the people of God and like what that looks like versus the culture's view of leadership. But then you said you also preached last night on James chapter 3. And so some musings on leadership, right? Some like, and some stuff you picked up along the way from Chick-fil-A world and are now, you're in your 30s now, right? Like, so how long have you been 30?
I turned 31 here very shortly, August 2nd.
Nice. Okay, there we go. So the ripe age of 30 and got a couple kids and,
Just want to start out ministry when Jesus did. I figured that seems right.
Give it a good 3-year run, see what happens. Talk about that a little bit, what you talked to me about there in the hallway about just the leadership lessons and just sort of the way we see leadership.
Yeah. I mean, like I was asking the students last night, like, do we want to be a leader? Like, is that what we're supposed to be? We're supposed to have good influence. And so what does that look like for each one of us as we're learning what it's like to be influential? What's the motive behind that?
Yep.
And going through James here in this section as he's talking to teachers, it's weighty and it's heavy. And it's in that motive as he's like picking that out. He's like, if you're doing that for your own bitter jealousy and selfish ambition, it'll only create disorder and every vile practice.
Yeah.
I love how he just says every.
Yeah. It's like many vile practices.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And just thinking about starting out as a teenager, learning what leaders, and like, people say, is leadership something you're born with or something that you learn? And I can think back to times when I was in school and rallying people on the recess playground to play baseball. And they're like, what's baseball? They don't know the rules. And, I just like naturally pull people together. And now that I'm thinking about my son, it's starting to make sense why he does some of that stuff. But to see like why I did some of that stuff, especially in high school and in college, like the amount of times I did it for my own gain, for myself to look good, or to like win, whatever winning looked like for the day.
Yeah.
For myself, to make myself look good. And I realized the longer I was at Chick-fil-A, the more I could make the team member look good, the more I could make like the goal of the day not be about me.
Yeah.
It ended up being a lot more wholesome for the person.
Yeah.
Like in a marketplace way, and just your everyday. Yeah, I'm just living life out. And so as I've been thinking about, like as a father, as a husband, now as a pastor here, like what that means for me and what I've learned from the past, and I'm going to continue to learn. Like it just feels more weighty, like the more I go.
Yeah.
And not so much that like it even gets easier, per se. Like I think that's what people think. Like, oh, the higher I get up, man, it's just going to get easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to get more comfortable.
Yeah. And that's where I think that we think about, and as we were talking in the intern lecture and even talking about like the idea of the way the culture sees leadership, where it's, you sort of ascend to the top level, right? And you work your way up. And the higher you get, the idea in the culture would be, yes, it gets easier. You get more perks, you have more influence, you get more power, you have more clicks, like more people. And that, but again, self-serving, right? And the striving to climb the ladder, driven by the money, the prestige, the good life, right? The dream that we would have from culture. Whereas when you look at the ethic of Jesus, and you see that, like in John the Baptist, I'm thinking of like, he must increase, I must decrease. Like you see that like reality with John the Baptist, knowing that as Christ comes on the scene, there will be a lessening of him, right? So that Christ can be magnified, because John says, I'm not the one. And then Jesus teaches the disciples, you think of Mark chapter 9, if anyone would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all. So greatness gets completely redefined into service. Leadership gets completely redefined into sacrifice, into, like you said, lifting other people up and thinking of their good rather than one's own. And it's a completely different way of being, right? It's a completely different mindset. And it's funny, dude, because in the world, and I think of like Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, right? I'm sure you've read that. Mm-hmm. So, and when he talks about like the level 5 leader, and the ideal leader, and this is not like a Christian book. This isn't something that's like in the church. This is like in business. It's like one of the best-selling business books in the last 40 years. And you look at the traits of a level 5 leader, and certainly there's some ambition there. There's like the will. I always remember the line where he's like the willingness to like sell all the buildings or to fire your mother. It's like you're going to make the decisions that have to be made. You're so resolved and sold on the vision. But there's also traits of like humility and self-sacrifice. And another book we even have our staff reading. Again, this is like more of a business book, but Leadership and Self-Deception, right? Where when you really sift down the book Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arbinger Institute, again, best-selling leadership book, you sift that thing down, it's Philippians 2, 3, and 4. Like, think of others as better than yourself. Think not only of your own interests, but also of the interests of others. And so there is this idea theologically of like common grace that even non-believers pick up on, that these attributes of Christ, that the ethics of the kingdom of God, right, ultimate reality, they at times even have a glimpse of it, right, to go, this is what good leadership is. And anybody who's ever served under poor leadership that is self-focused, that is, in the worst cases, abusive or taking advantage of others or those kind of things, running over other people. And I mean, people have dealt with that in the church and outside the church, but anybody who's ever been under that kind of leadership understands that that is certainly not what it's designed to be. So within Chick-fil-A, dude, there's like a Chick-fil-A Institute, right? Like, isn't there like a Chick-fil-A, like you go through the training type stuff, and is this like
for
urban
local,
legend?
like a local store?
No, I mean like in Atlanta in their headquarters, don't they have like training type things they do?
For
tons
sure.
of
Yeah.
it.
And
right?
that's actually something that John did for a little bit when he was traveling. Being able to train other operators.
Yeah.
They definitely take learning and development very seriously.
Yeah.
Because like to be able to protect the nature of the brand, the quality of the products, like that training is going to have to be like crucial. But something that I just really respected about Chick-fil-A as a company in general is like they're not just going to pop up everywhere really fast. Like they're going to be super intentional because it's about the person that's like the owner operator there.
You think we could take a cue from them in church planting, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Just don't randomly throw up stores everywhere, like train people a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I would tell people it's not like a shotgun. It's like to be really direct and precise about the person, and so that's why thousands of people apply every year, and very few will even like get an opportunity to have an interview.
Many are called, few are chosen, kind of idea. So, what transfers over now that you're almost a year in this seat as a youth pastor here? What transfers over from your Chick-fil-A? Like, do you? I mean, obviously, in some senses, you've like changed industries. Like you're in a different. Right. You're not like running a kitchen or leading a store or whatever. And
I haven't made a lot of chicken sandwiches.
Haven't made a lot of chicken sandwiches recently with extra pickles. But like, what's the what are these transferable lessons that you take out of? Because the funny thing about even your leadership roles at Chick-fil-A in the later days that you were there, you were overseeing a lot of like younger people, like totally. A lot of teenagers, young adults.
Oh, I tell people that all the time. It's like I am around the same people. It's the
sometimes
same,
literally
same clients, different service. Like I'm I'm around 16 to 25-year-olds a lot at Chick-fil-A, and still around a lot of
So
teenagers.
how's the stuff transferred over to your first year here at Eastside?
Yeah, the biggest part I think is
your first year in that role. You've been at Eastside for 10 years almost?
Yeah. No, not 10 years yet. 8. So this summer will be 9.
Cool.
But I think the biggest one is the ability to interview people. Just sit back at a table, ask them about their story, like to tell me a little bit about them, and an opportunity to be a careful listener before somebody just walks through the door. And that's good for just being able to talk with students and like get to know them, to actually intently listen. Admittedly, there were some people that I interviewed at Chick-fil-A, and I think they were putting me to sleep. Granted, having an interview at 3:00 after opening at 5:30, probably not a smart idea, but that was just that was the restaurant life.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that I got an opportunity to like be involved with HR type stuff, interviewing people, hard conversations when we might have to fire somebody. Like those were always the really tough days to make those tough decisions there. And then the most rewarding was to take like kids that were 16 or 17 and just grow them up in the restaurant. And maybe they didn't have a lot of aspiration to like go on to college or a trade school, but they were really good at some things that didn't take any talent. Like, and so I pulled, these are 10 things that take 0 talent.
Yeah.
Being on time, making an effort, being high energy, having a positive attitude, being passionate, using good body language, being coachable, doing a little extra, being prepared, and having a strong work ethic.
Okay.
Like, we would teach people that.
Dude, teach youth pastors that. Transfer that over and teach that to every youth pastor in America, dude, and it would be awesome.
Like, you don't have to go to college for that.
Yeah.
And we have, still working down the street at Chick-fil-A, we have somebody who's our director of human resources, I still feel a lot of ownership there.
Sure.
And she's doing great. And she was 16 years old when she started there.
That's killer.
And those were some of the most rewarding times when you could like see the potential of somebody, and not just because they're high up in the business, but they put the work in to for the sake of like what was going on there, for the mission of whatever it was that we were doing.
That's killer, dude. Those are great lessons. And when you first said it, things that take no talent, it could almost sound pejorative or like, hey, if you're really bad at everything, just do it. But at the same time, you think about the excuse making that can happen when people, you think about at Chick-fil-A overseeing people or whatever, any job where you're overseeing people, the excuse making that can happen of like, well, I'm not gifted to do that, or I'm not passionate about that, or I don't have the talent, right? Or whatever reason people would give for why they don't do it or why they can't do it. And you're laying out 10 things that are like, just things your mama should have taught you,
Yeah.
or your
well,
dad.
we would ask them this question. We'd be like, is it really, during like the interviewing process, would it be really good to be the best person on the team and to show up late, or to be on time and to be an okay player? And what we found out is that consistency was like, it was easier for us to work with somebody who was consistent and faithful than somebody who like, I don't know what to expect today.
Yeah.
They're either having a terrible attitude when they come in, they're only thinking about themselves. And I give the students this illustration last night of literally being on shift, and sometimes somebody would come through the door and I'm just like, oh, they're here. And it was like a rough day, because they would come in and be like, what am I doing today? Like, all they cared about is what I'm doing. Not like, how can I serve you? What could I do to help out the team today? There was no split difference in those types of team members.
Man, that is key, dude, because and you think people can approach church that way. What's in this for me today? How am I going to be fed? What's my experience going to be? Who's going to talk to me, right? And it's that same mentality can be present, a self-focus versus an outward focus. I heard, I think it was Ray Ortland years ago say, there's fundamentally two type of people when they walk into the room. There's people who walk in and it's like, I'm here, versus those, people who walk into the room and they say, here I am, right? Versus those people that walk into the room and say, there you are, right? And that's a key lesson of I'm going to be others focused when I walk into the room. I'm not going to be thinking about myself and again, we've gone full circle on it, but we come to kind of the core of leadership. The one who would be first, the one who would be greatest in the kingdom will be servant of all. And so I think we'll leave it there. Good stuff, man. Go Phillies, I guess.